Try to put it on them, would you? And then when you get out, we'll catch you and we'll get more money to send you on your way. Secretary Mayorkas and his controlled flow operation, we were down there, actually Michael Yon filmed it when he landed in Panama down at the entrance to the Darien Gap. I flew in the next day. That entire administration under Joe Biden, the regime under Joe Biden, was about human trafficking. It was about coordinating and exploiting human trafficking. And the 85,000 missing children, that's a tiny number compared to the actual number of missing children that were run through child trafficking under the last administration. It goes from, as Ann said, from the top to the bottom. If we can go to the next video. And I'll just kind of, again, talk through this. It goes from the top to the bottom. I just came back from Mexico a couple weeks ago. Again, this is one village down as you come out of the Darien Gap. This is Las Blancas, right outside the Darien Gap. A village of about 200 people on a good day. Sometimes they're lower than that. 5,000 illegals per day were pouring through at the end when Joe Biden was in there.
Yes, look at
coming
this.
through there today? Almost zero.
Yeah, look at all that.
Zero. And Joe Biden said he couldn't do it.
Right.
Secretary Mayorkas said he couldn't do it. And the Democrats said they couldn't do it. And all you had to have was a president who put America first, and it ended.
Right.
That's it. That's it. Let's go to the next one. And you can watch all of these videos again. All 30 episodes. We're in our 5th season. All of that is americasvoice.news. These are the boats when we first started going down the river up into the Darien Gap. We would see 10 boats at a time. By the end of it, by the end of the invasion that the Democrats invited, this day we saw 116 boats of illegals from all over the world. This isn't people just from Central America and South America. This is everywhere. Iraq, Iran, Syria, everywhere. Every country, China. You got the CCP sending their spies into our country to destroy our country from within. Let's go. Next one. Thank you, Jason. You're doing great. This was a shootout. So these people had just been raped. These guys have just been robbed. They don't usually rape the men. That's only in America. But it's not. I shouldn't say it's only, but it's really a lot in America. But it's the women. The rule is if you're pretty, you're raped, and if you're a female, you're raped. If you're pretty, you're raped multiple times. And that's the expectation. These guys have just been robbed. There's the Gulf cartel was there. We were being escorted in by Senefront and the Special Forces. And as we went up, we had done one trip through the jungle going with the flow. Then we ended up doing 3 trips in reverse flow. And I asked the Senefront guys, I was like, why has anyone ever done this? They said no. I was like, why not? Because that's how you get all your intel. And so as we started walking, this girl had just been raped, and we started walking up into the jungle, and immediately there's a group of, they call them bandits, 5 hours up the trail, and then it became 3 hours up the trail, and then it was 2 hours, and then 1 hour, and then 15 minutes up the trail. And as we were getting closer to them, the stories got more and more and more horrific. Everyone was robbed. All the girls were raped. The children, they had daughters and children with them. A lot of times they're raped as well. And they do it with impunity because there's no law out there. This is some of the most rugged, remote, again, it's hell on earth. It's also heaven if it wasn't being overrun by this invasion. It's incredible jungle. And so we're going through there. This is happening. We ended up going up the trail a little bit further, got into a shootout with the Gulf cartel. Thank God, if you can just fast forward that a little bit. So this was just before we went into it. You can just scroll a little bit further. We're about to go. Keep going. So this is actually in the shootout. The bullets are, so they're on the other side of the river. We're ducking down. The bullets are flying over. And if you haven't had bullets flying, by the way, God bless our veterans out here. If you haven't had bullets flying at you, it's a little disconcerting. Thank God His angel armies go with us where we go, and He protected us. Our guides are these warriors, these heroes of Panama, killed one of theirs, captured 2 others. And had they not been there, we would have been robbed. We might have been murdered as well if you don't do what they say. So they captured them, brought these guys back out. Again, you can watch these videos. Let's go to the next one. So I love this next video, by the way. Speaking of, this is what they tell the people. This is a video from China. You can hear the audio. Let's hear this audio of it. Yeah, so this is actually, when we talk about this as being a global, I call it a global travel agency. The cartels are over the entire world. Sinaloa, the MS-13, TDA, all of these guys, they're working in countries all over the world. Obviously, the CCP is their own cartel.
He talking about the
These are
illegal
advertisements that were
aliens
actually being played in
that's
China
coming over to
to
our
entice people to
country,
come
to
into the Darien
America.
Gap. These are boats that we were on
So
from
these are the
Dakota
films.
to
This is
Port Denard. And they make it look like this great
films
travel
that the
resort.
real voice
They
of
have boats,
America
you
been
can go
putting
across
out,
the jungle.
showing us for
This
years
is how widespread
during the
this
Biden
was.
Harris
Again, people think
administration
about this and they think,
about
oh, it's just
how
these
all
poor innocent
these
people that are coming
illegals
across that want a better
that
life.
came
No, this is
here,
an industry.
who
And
they
it all goes
were.
back to the amount of money that you and I and every taxpayer is
And so,
funding into these organizations.
and so what he's
This
doing is
starts,
showing
they may have the
who,
advertisements in China, but this starts in America with the NGOs,
yeah,
the
he's
United
showing,
Nations,
he's
and the
talking
Democrat
about
politicians that are bought off by the
the illegal
cartels that are
aliens
saying we need to support these people.
that's
this is
here
humanitarian. These
in
poor people
America.
just want a better life. They don't care. They don't give a damn about these people's lives. They want the money and the power that comes along with it. And so all of that happens here, but it then ends up becoming a video in China inviting people to come over. And you have some Christians, we met some Christians fleeing the CCP that we met coming across the Darien Gap, but we also met people that said, yes, the CCP
NGOs
is
are
sending their spies.
non-government
And the problem was, for 4
organizations
years, we couldn't
like
vet
these
any of them.
shelters.
They just all came through. Border Patrol was so overrun that it became cartels for the Uber, or Ubers for the cartel. They were just let them in. I actually had a
like these shelters that's staffed and housing these illegals. That's what NGOs. That's an example of an NGO, non-government organization.
Part of taking over when Joe Biden left our $80 billion there and left 13 service members to die and hundreds to get wounded. He was coming over because he realized this was the way to come into America. I met him, this illegal alien member, terrorist member of Afghanistan, said his name was John Smith, told that to Border Patrol. The next day, he was released into the United States. The guy from Iran called me a week later and said, hey, that guy that you were down there with me, he's a terrorist from Afghanistan. He admitted it to me. It took me an hour and a half to get anybody from Homeland Security, again, this was under Biden, to even take the report to try to find out where this guy was. Already released into the United States. They said there were 3 different agencies before I got somebody on the phone. I actually got sent to a call center, some Filipino guy that told me he couldn't even take the report unless I had the guy's first and last name, which I did, his real first and last name, and the made up first and last name. I needed to have his date of birth and his current residence. And I said, that's your job. You guys are the ones who released him. How the hell am I supposed to know where he's at? He's a terrorist in America. Go do your job. That's one guy out of the millions that Joe Biden let in. And right now we're living in that.
Yes.
As talking to Tom Bowman, we get to do amazing stuff with Tom Bowman and ICE and Border Patrol. I'm blessed to be able to do what I do because we tell the truth of Real America's Voice News. Unlike most mainstream media outlets out there, that's why we exist, is to tell the truth and expose
Real American Voice News.
Tom says it, and all these guys say it all the time. It's not
It's
a matter
his
of
channel
if,
on
it's a matter of
YouTube.
when. The terror attacks are coming. They're coming to our shores. We invited them in. They are here right now. There are cells all across our country. And all you got to do is look at Dearborn, Michigan. And you say, when they say they're not doing enough, all you got to do is look at every one of our college campuses where you've got people marching for Hamas. And you've got Columbia and NYU and all of these universities that have been taken over by communist jihadists, this unholy alliance that want to destroy our country. If we don't wake up to this very, very, very quickly, our country is dead.
Yes.
That's what's happening. Let's go to the next video. So from there, from the Darien Gap, I came back up and I actually discovered this. A lot of my reporting is showing and telling. And I get a lot of people say, how do you find this stuff? I just show up. This was when I was down there with my buddy Tyho Decker, and we were traveling. We were actually showing the little stalls in Mexico. Again, there's an industry about this. They have an entire shopping center. Basically, all the little stalls sell the clothing, everything you need, the camouflage, everything. A runner, and I'll just differentiate between the runners and the give-ups. On the Mexico side. So we were down there in this little tiny town called Sonaita, right across from Lukeville, Arizona. And all of a sudden I started seeing all these illegals running on the US side of the wall. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So we drove across to Lukeville, after we filmed all the little stalls. And this is when we broke the story that there were thousands. They had moved from Yuma, Arizona, and they were all coming across Lupeville, Arizona. And every single day, men, you see these tents, all men from Africa, from the Middle East, all single adult males between the ages of 16 and 30, the vast, vast majority of these guys. And we were letting them in by the plane load.
Yes.
Every single day for 4 years. And the only reason I discovered this, by the way, Border Patrol at the time didn't want you to know about it.
Yeah.
In fact, this was on National Forest Service land. They tried to kick me off. They threatened to arrest me for flying my drone because it's illegal to fly a drone there, apparently. But it's not illegal to invade our country there. That was happening. And so this was one location of thousands of locations across our border. They went from there to your cities. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, to our city, sure did.
So this is the next one's Tohono O'odham Reservation. It's the only
So we got the fake news,
multinational.
and he's been the one showing what's been going on at the border.
Much of the trafficking happens.
Real Voice of
There's
America
actually
news.
Tribes, many of the tribal members are involved with the cartels. Many of them are cartel members. Some of the most child trafficking and women trafficking happens here. The number of missing women, even out of the tribes, is so high in these areas, it's unbelievable. Again, just out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. They said we couldn't go down there and film, so we just snuck in and started filming. A few times we went down with Border Patrol, who we won't name, and got in there. And again, this is just happening every single day. Next one. So the next one was with Tim Foley. This is his footage from his trail cams. This is on the U.S. side of the southern border. These are heavily, pause it for a second, if you can. So I said the difference between runners and gotaways are runners and give-ups. So Joe Biden and the Democrats realized through our asylum laws, by the way, these are the enemies within. Yeah, the so-called humanitarians, multiple different groups. They call some of them humanitarians. There's a church out of Green Valley. It's Good Shepherd Lutheran Church out of Green Valley, Arizona. They're down there putting food and water and supplies for the cartels. Their water drops actually coincide exactly with the trails that the cartel runs their drugs and their people across. So some of the people, these leftist organizations realize, well, how do we get more of these people in? Because the more that they come in, the more money we get. They came over from Laos, escaped communism to come here, had to be sponsored. They had to go through the entire process legally. They had to get sponsored and come over legally before they came. There's a reason why we have asylum and a reason why we have specific laws about that. I was with her when she got her citizenship. It's an incredibly amazing thing to have people that want to come to our country, that want to give back to our country, that want to do it the right way. What we have now is the exact opposite. Again, going back to biblical. It's light versus darkness. The devil always exploits things and flips them. And now they try to act like this is good. These organizations are making money on this. So they would tell these people, they would go into Mexico, they would train them and say, this is what you say when you turn yourself into Border Patrol. And that's why we had these thousands and thousands of people coming across and making up fake stories about why they were coming and where they were coming from. All these people coming from Venezuela, the vast majority had lived in Brazil and Chile for sometimes over a decade. They had escaped and they were living there comfortably, but they were told by these NGOs, now's the time to come to America. So they came to America, said, I'm from Venezuela. They lied, they gamed the system, they came in. Well, while that's happening, in every area outside of that, as Border Patrol resources were pulled away, you've got the cartel exploiting that, pushing their drugs, pushing their child trafficking, pushing their human trafficking. And they were doing both, and they were making money on both of it. And the reality is, our politicians knew about it, and I guarantee you, they were being paid off by it. And until, I was just down in Mexico, I asked the guy down there, my escort down in Sinaloa, I said, what do you think about this? We cut the heads off of all these cartels, we labeled them terrorist organizations, what do you think about that? And he said, nothing is going to change until the politicians start getting arrested.
Yep.
And the same is true for America.
Yes.
Until the politicians that invited this into our country, and thank God, I was going to say until the judges, we got 2 of them, there's 1,000 more to go, until the judges, until the DAs, until everybody is investigated, until the bankers who follow the money from the cartels to the bankers, down through to all of these politicians. Until that happens, Nobody's safe. None
That's
of this
right.
changes because there are 1,000-foot soldiers that are willing to come up and take that position. And that's happening right now. There's a reorganization that this communist president of Mexico is doing what she's doing because she doesn't want the tariffs from President Trump. The truth is, she's bought off by one of the cartels. It appears, again, this is allegedly.
Yeah, I can believe you.
Part of the Sinaloa, half of the Sinaloa cartel, El Mayo, he's fighting the Chapitos right now. It appears that he is basically controls the presidency of Mexico, and there's a reorganization of cartels happening down there. And all that's happening is you're taking power from one or multiple, and you're giving it to one or two or a few to create the sense of calm. But in reality, you're just giving your country over. Mexico is controlled by the cartels.
Yep.
The truth is, places like Chicago are as well.
Yep.
And the majority of major cities in America are as well. Let's go to the next one, and then we'll probably land it.
Look, he just said.
We got a few more. We got bunkers.
No, I'm
We
saying
got
you knew
trails,
that.
all this stuff happening.
Chicago.
Let's go to the next one. Yeah, let's actually go down.
Cartel.
Let's go to 17. Can you go to 17, Jason? Okay. So these are on cartel.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, if you
Chicago
have
is
17
controlled by the cartel. That's exactly right.
Let me see, 14. No, that's good. That's good.
Look,
We'll
Zoe.
stop.
So you keep trying to tell them on your channel.
We were following, again, my journalism show and tell.
KKK,
And I
you keep
bags
trying to
and
tell
bags of IDs because these people dumped them because they could make up an entirely new story because we weren't vetting them. Oh yeah, this is Emma Lozano. This is the Lincoln United Methodist Church. By the way, you want to be attacked, and the reason why Antifa tried to shut us down, and thank God for the Belvedere banquets.
Them two ain't shit.
They
Them ain't shit. They be down there
So
fighting
the
city
reason why
hall.
they shut us down at the
Maybe a
first one
city
is
hall.
because Antifa attacked them, and they didn't have the courage to stand up. Thank God for these guys for having the courage. By the way, where's Antifa? Where are they? Where's BLM? All these
Right.
guys that threatened to come and shut us down. Where? Yeah, it's raining. They stayed home with their moms. No, these guys are scumbag cowards who aren't willing to show up unless they outnumber you 20-1, and then they feel tough. The only way they're defeated is if you stand up, and sorry, there's a time where you punch them back in the mouth. Now, I believe in the Old and the New Testament, you turn the other cheek. Jesus said to turn the other cheek. He also said to take up your swords. And there's a place for it. And until we actually stand up against these guys, when they're running your country into the ground, your cities into the ground, we got to stand up. Where are you now? Antifa, where are you now? You're invited. Any event I do, you're invited. I'd love to have a conversation. That's actually, I got these stitches from Antifa in Berkeley. I got these because I wanted to find common ground. And the truth is, most Americans, whether you're black, white, brown, whether you're either genders, and there's 2 of them, there's not 57, doesn't matter what community you're from, most people, if you actually have a conversation, you find common ground. And the truth is, the left, the communists in this country, not all Democrats, but the ones that run the Democrat Party, they do not want us having these conversations.
Yes.
They don't want finding that common ground. And because they know as soon as we do that, they're lost.
That's right.
They lost, we won.
That's right.
That's the key to all of this.
Yep.
That's it. We won tonight. The key is that we have to be willing to stand even if you stand alone. This battle is just beginning. A lot of people, I thank God President Trump won. We fought so hard to get the truth
Yes.
out when the mainstream
Yes.
media was lying about it.
Yes.
They're lying even more now. But the battle, the war is just beginning. And so if you think the left has given up on this, guys, their coffers are full.
Yeah.
They've got trillions of dollars between Soros and all of his PACs and all of these organizations and all of these NGOs and all of these fake communist churches. They've got trillions of dollars, and they're using it not just in America, but the Western world. Look at England. I was just over there this summer. You've got the jihadization of
Jihad.
the world happening in England as well, and in France and all these places. It's
France.
just the beginning. And my message, my request to Chicago, some of you guys are doing incredible work. My request to you, Chad, I love you.
You said Daddy sounded like she in church.
And Chad will agree with me on this. And Mark, Laura Miller, and some of you guys, David Shistokis, and you guys are doing incredible work. The key here, the enemy is winning here because we are dividing ourselves. There is so much division. And by the way, some people need to be called out. If you're a rhino and you're working against, I'd rather have a Democrat than a rhino because at least the Democrat stabs me in the front.
Come on.
In front. That's right.
To the people, to the people who are on the same side, whose enemy is the same, you've got to get your ego out of the way. And we've got to come together and say, This is for our children and our grandchildren and the futures of the nations of the world. We got to come together because as one body, we are strong. As divided individuals, we are weak, and the left knows that. If you do that in Chicago, you won't just change Chicago, you won't just change Illinois, you will change America, and you will potentially change the world. Chicago is the epicenter. It's where all the bad started.
Yes.
It's where all the good can start.
Yes.
This is the place where if we are going to see those changes for the good in America, I believe it comes from here.
Yes.
And the only way that happens is if you guys unite. You kick the bad actors out, you kick some of that stuff out, but you also go to your brothers and your sisters and you say, look, you may have something against me. What is that? It's what the Bible says. You take your brother aside. You don't blast him on social media and call him an idiot and destroy him. You say, hey, if you're my brother, what have I done to wrong you? Let's come together. If you're my sister, what have I done to wrong you? How do we do this as the body? If you do that, there's no limit to what you guys can do.
Yeah.
And so I'm just here as a guy in the media. I'm honored to be able to be a part of this.
Yes, come on, Chicago. We can do this.
To start the fight.
We can make Chicago great again. We can do this, Chicago. Thank you. Yes. Ben, thank you.
Follow that by everybody.
Yeah, by the way, so americasvoice.news, all of our work, Steve Bannon. By the way, I tried to get him to come on. A lot of these, you'll come, I'll get him on the phone. And he was with President Trump tonight. Sorry, guys. He was, but Charlie Kirk, all those guys, great work. Real America's Voice News. It's americasvoice.news. Please do me a favor. You can download it. You can go on your phone right now. Go to your app store. Look up Real America's Voice. Download the app. You can watch all of my episodes of Law and Order. But the most important thing with that is to share it with your friends, to tell them stop watching CNN, stop watching Telemundo. By the way, we need a great Spanish alternative to that. We're working on that as well with some of the folks out there. There are some great Spanish alternatives, but all of these, get this information out to your people. We also have, my organization is frontlineamerica.com, and then we have a nonprofit. Well, we started a long time ago, but my brother Will Johnson and Josh Wolfer, we are actually just kicking that off again to give support back to Border Patrol, to ICE, and to the angel families who've lost family members because of the illegal aliens. So that's frontlineamericafoundation.org if you want to support that. We're just kicking that off again this week. So my organization is frontlineamerica.com, our nonprofit's frontlineamericafoundation.org, and then again, americasvoice.news.
Yes. Yes.
Give it up for Ben.
Yes, Ben.
Real journalist right here.
A real journalist, yes.
Amazing. Really. I can be followed at annvandersteel.com. All my social media links are there. And if you want to get active and you want to be part of the solution, you want to be part of the Department of Government Accountability, DOJA, head on over to AmericanMadeAction.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Rob Cruz, get up here. So how many Catholics are here? Well, Rob's, how many Catholics are here? So, oh, sorry. So Kelly's going to run. We have $360 left for the winner of the Split the Pot. So if anyone wants
all right, y'all. I just wanted to show you all a little bit. This is where I had to speak at today. I was one of the speakers up here.
Do you guys know
I
how
need
guilty and culpable our church is with this illegal immigration? Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that are following us, and look up Terry Newsom 357 on X. So Ben talked about his history. 357 stands for when I was in the 1980s. I was working with the Kelly cartel and the Herrera cartel. It changed my life. I went to jail. I used to carry 357. That's why. Sorry. So anyway, I changed my life dramatically. Right? So at Terry Newsom 357. If you want to see what our Catholic Church has been doing to the city of Chicago and America, right? I have evidence from the FOIAs. They were putting 55 illegals up per day in apartments.
Yup.
They had to build extra shelters because the women were being beat up for their husbands so much.
Terry, we got to do the split the pot.
Shut up. So if I want you to talk, I would have asked you. So anyway, anyone else wants to add to split the pot, just go ahead, Joe, and we're going to do that. So oh, you ready to do it? All right, so one last thing. What Ben had to say, we're in a war for our country. We're losing the war. We need you people to help us stop this disastrous criminal activity in Illinois. We need you guys to help get signatures, all right?
Yeah, by the way, this initiative, you guys can do this. We tried to do something like this in California years ago before people knew what sanctuary movement was. And the left is going to come after you so hard. You guys have to unite on this. If it can happen in Chicago, the entire country, you guys will be the beginning, the catalyst, the lightning rod for the rest of the country. But it's so critical. You've got to raise the money. You have to raise the money to get the signatures. The signatures are important because you can get a ton of volunteers, but you've got to raise the money to get the signatures. Focus your efforts on that. And again, if you guys do this here, it will change the country.
Yes.
It will change the country.
Yes.
We're gonna be like the Bulls.
By the way, you can find my social media. It's just my name, Ben Burkle, too, so I forgot to say that.
All right, well, we got a few more people getting the last.
Yeah, if you guys, last minute buyers,
Can't win if you don't play.
Yeah, if you want to join can you call it a 50-50 raffle?
Just call the raffle.
Raffle, okay, it's just a raffle.
right, I'm
Some of
gonna
them
keep
are legal,
talking.
some of them aren't. It's
I'm
just a
gonna keep-
raffle.
I'm gonna
It's
talk
just a
about
raffle. It's not
this
50-50. It's not
I
that.
want to get in on what Ben said. After Donald Trump won the election, my wife's not here, right? She hates what I'm doing.
They're about to give away $400, so go over there, join the raffle.
They're gonna come over here. So my wife, she's worried as a mother and my wife about all the stuff that we're going through being threatened, right? So after Donald Trump won, first thing in the morning she said to me, "Are we finished? Are you done?" And I'm gonna reinforce what Ben said, is the battle just started. We can't
Just
rely
got
on
started.
Donald Trump
Right.
to do this by himself. It's
Right.
all you guys here in the audience, right? We all have to step up. We gotta
Yes.
get signatures. We gotta help him. We gotta fight for him.
Everything
Yes.
ends if in 2 years we don't get that larger majority in the House and the Senate, because there's still rhinos in both. The reason why President Trump's doing everything through executive order is because you don't have the votes in the House and the Senate to do a lot of what needs to happen to make these changes permanent. If we don't get that, in 4 years, if they steal the election again, it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
And it's not just over for another 4 years. They're so close to destroying this country permanently. You have to do it from now until 2026. Again, get the initiative, flip the sanctuary policy, but you have to get MAGA in the House and in the Senate
Yes.
to give President Trump the backup to make these changes permanent. Otherwise,
Yes.
you get a Joe Biden in there and they turn it around the next day.
All right, how we doing, Kelly?
Just another
And
point.
if you had any questions, by the way, we'll stick around. I'll stick around for a few minutes. Happy to answer any questions.
So, the work that was done by Ben, Real America's Voice, Operation Burning Edge down in Panama actually effectuated a regime change, believe it or not. President Molino, the new president of Panama, was elected because the work that we were doing down there exposed how corrupt their own government was, how infiltrated by the NGOs, the UN-owned NGOs, basically funded NGOs, our tax dollar funded NGOs. Panama realized they lost control of their government, so the people ripped out their one leader and put in a one that's working with us. Hence, that's why President Trump is negotiating over that Panama Canal to bring it back under our control.
See?
Because again, China has moved in, Iran has moved in, Russia, other countries have moved in. And this is communist creep at our door, and that's what we're experiencing here, and you're seeing it in Chicago.
Yes.
You're seeing it in California. Case in point, Ben, right here. So if we can have an impact in a foreign country, and it's a small ragtag fleet of journalists down there that are raising holy hell and calling me a conspiracy theorist for pointing stuff that's being done in their own country that they're trying to cover up, if we just work a little bit harder here, we can do it here.
Yes.
We can do it here. But you gotta help. You gotta help.
All right, we're getting ready to draw right here. I want to thank Jennifer Hayes, Kelly, Jason Hayes, Mike Lauber, and all our other speakers and stuff, and my little Hispanic buddy from Long Lawn.
A big dago buddy.
And I want to thank all you guys for being here, because the change is only going to happen if you guys help.
And thank you guys for coming out and not being afraid of these little thugs that threaten you as well.
Right.
Say no to Pantifa.
Ben, you said something like that caught my attention about other people trying to do this before, right?
Oh, no, you can have my,
Sanctuary.
yeah, my number. Let me give
It's
you.
almost like it's the hardest to
Okay,
penetrate
okay.
for the federal government. Like yesterday, there was a briefing that Cook County issued to the DOJ in their hearing, and I think it was the state, on getting a case dismissed because the DOJ is basically saying you guys you're obstructing justice. And unfortunately, even though I don't know if we're going to win that, but people hear that in the news, and And if you're an immigrant, you're undocumented, where are you going? You're coming here.
By the way, Pritzker needs to be arrested. You
Yes.
guys know that. Johnson needs to be arrested.
Yes.
It's so obvious, and until that happens, again, a lot of this doesn't.
Arrested.
But as soon as that starts happening, these sanctuary jurisdictions, these guys start going down on federal charges, and they talk about retribution. Look, it's justice. It's real justice. We had injustice. Now we're calling for real justice.
That's right. That's right.
Well, the time has finally come when everyone has come to see the magic lottery pick.
Well, I first want to thank
Not a lottery. It's not a lottery.
Sorry, raffle.
first want to thank everybody because you all showing up even at the last minute after this venue was changed.
Right.
That was a big deal. Just contributing to this. But I didn't want to interrupt your filming.
Oh no, dude.
This activity. And so I'm glad you all had fun.
Thank you for speaking. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
I grew
much.
up in Chicago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Great cause, and we
Everywhere.
thank you so much. Let's go,
And then you say what?
I'll look away.
You still in Chicago?
If you have a number, let me know. Text it to me right
I really honestly wish.
now. All right. Here we go. I went all the way to the bottom and then picked one
We're gonna
up.
go. You know what? Let me get off here.
Number
All right, you all. I'm getting ready to get off here.
405.
Okay, I'm getting ready to get off here, you all. So. Oh,
This is Cook County. I do get a piece of that, right?
Cook County, yes. All right,
I
you
get a
all.
piece of that, don't I?
Okay, I'm gonna get up off here. Love you all. Love you all.
Yeah, you gotta pay your taxes. Actually, we should stop paying those too.
Yeah, you gotta come to the next museum. It was awesome. All right, you guys. I gotta get off here.
That concludes our event tonight. Please feel free. Thank you to Danielle, Carter Trust.